Hey everyone, I'm Rachel. In today's tutorial, I'll teach you how to create vintage typography using the Color Therapy app. You can transform any typography template in the app into a vintage-looking poster with just 2 colors and a few steps. I'll show you a few different ways to shade the text. You can find this image under Typography, Gift. So here is my inspiration. So you can see that the background is really dark and there's sort of a vignette around it. Then we have a bit of fading into the color behind it. And it's just the black and the beige color that we're going to use. If you go under the hair shades palette and select gradient, there's a great color. It's the second to last color on the bottom row. Select that, turn it to radial gradient and tap to fill it in. Now let's tap in the typography with the color from the background. So I want to sample the color closest to the bottom here and then just tap in the life letters. And then also tap in the you hold section as well in the banner. And then for the rest of the font, just sample the color in the middle and then tap to fill it in. Back in the hair shades palette, select a solid dark brown. I'm using the 5th color on the top row. And then use the AIRBRUSH tool, set the size to 100 and opacity at 20. Now with coloring inside the lines mode set to off, you can just begin to draw in a little bit of a vignette in the corners of the image. So I'm just very gently fading those corners, making them a bit darker. And then using the smear tool, you can set the intensity and the size to 100 and just blend those just a little bit so they look a little bit more smooth. Now let's work on our first technique. So using the spray tool this time, set the size to 100 and opacity at 85. Select coloring inside the lines mode and turn that to on and then zoom in to the word story. All you're going to do is with a basic black is you're just going to begin to fade in the top of the font downward. So just add a few layers so it's really dark at the top of the font and it'll just fade into a nice beige. Then color in the shadow with black. Let's add a little bit of a shadow underneath it. So let's use the AIRBRUSH tool. Set the size to 30 and opacity at 65, and then just add a nice little shadow underneath each letter. So that's our first technique. Another technique is to do stripes. So let's select the pen tool, set the opacity at 65 and the size at 2. Using a black, you're just going to draw stripes across the font. And they're just going in a horizontal manner. And then once you get about halfway, lower the size to 1 and then continue drawing your stripes. And then you want to begin to slowly spread them apart, kind of like that. And then you repeat that on the rest of the letters. You can space them closer together at first and then slowly space them apart. Then you want to raise the opacity to 100, set the size at 2, and then sample the color of the background by the font. And then you're going to outline the font just on the inside part. So it's almost like erasing the outline of it. And this is optional. You can also use black and then outline the outer portion of the font. To make that really pop out against the banner, set the spray tool to about size 35 and opacity 20, and then you can spray around the edges of the banner and it's going to really make the fonts just pop out. And then using those same settings, go ahead and begin to shade the letter P for pen at the top, and then we're also going to fade it. So we're going to shade it from the bottom upward. So we want the middle part of the P to be lighter. I'll do the same thing for the other letters, for the E and the N. And then you can make the shadow part a lot darker. Go back to the pen tool now, set the size to 1 and opacity at 100, and zooming in, you're just gonna draw zigzag lines going vertically down the P, like this. And then you're gonna cross right back over them. And that's gonna create some diamond shapes. You can also apply that to the other part of the P and the other letters. Apply any of those techniques to the rest of the letters. When you're done, remove the lines. If you really want to get detailed, you can even add in your own embellishments with more lines or decals in the background. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.